Hello, spooky babes. The countdown to May 27th, 2025 is getting closer. And right on cue, we've finally heard from Cassie again. I've been waiting to hear from Cassie about the public's compiled questions for 7. Even though I approach this with skepticism, after watching all of Cassie's videos, I can't shake the feeling that 7 lingers in my thoughts more than I expected. Even as I question what it is, what it wants, I find myself thinking about nuclear safety. Regardless of how skeptical I remain, I can't deny the weight of 7's concern. So let's see what Cassie's latest video reveals. Let's go back to Cassie's videos to see what she uncovered.
Hello again, friends. So you probably noticed that I deleted my most recent video with our latest conversation with 7. And that is because, unfortunately, it seems that when I showed this screen with everyone's submitted questions, I guess some of those questions asked not to be shared on TikTok. It apparently contained like someone's personal information or something like that. And rather than fuss and, pushing back, I just went ahead and deleted it. And frankly, I was getting a lot of strange criticism on that video anyway, because I guess people didn't like the way that I selected the questions. I should have more carefully, hand selected the questions rather than using a random number generator. Even though I think that 7 made it pretty obvious that it didn't matter what questions we asked, it was going to give us the answer it wanted to give us, which was swim. Anyway, if you want to know how that conversation went, the transcript has been updated. The link is in my bio for that. I encourage you to go read it. And if you have any questions about exactly how it went down, you can message me. But with the date so near, I figure I should kind of maybe take a second anyway and talk about what I personally theorize all of this might be. And again, as a disclaimer, I said this in my previous video, for those who saw it, I am not telling anyone what to believe, okay? I am not trying to create any kind of like fellowship here. I don't know what to believe. I'm not telling you what to believe. These are my personal theories for a personal experience from my life. So you don't have to believe this, and if it freaks you out, makes you feel weird, gives you anxiety, please scroll away, okay? So obviously we have no idea what is going to happen May 27th. We have no idea if what 7 said was going to happen is going to happen. And we have no way of knowing if 7 is what it says it is, which it's never been very clear about what exactly it is anyway. So all we have really is speculation. And most of the time, especially now, especially after this latest conversation, I lean towards some kind of like trickster, troll, weirdo, honestly. But I'm kind of a superstitious person, and when you have this thing fall into your lap, you kind of go out on a limb and you're like, all right, just in case it's real, I'm gonna try to integrate these sort of beliefs or these messages into my life. And just, it's asking me to be a better person, right? It's asking me to become more educated. It's asking me to, see the world differently. And that never seemed harmful to me. So I just kind of went with it. And as the date grew nearer and stuff started getting scarier, I came to TikTok in the off chance that would help, and just in case any of this was real. But listen, if May 27th turns into May 28th and nothing happens, I'm going to be thrilled. And this is all going to be done. I'm going to move on with my life, pack up that Ouija board, maybe throw it away. I'm done. Okay? 7 will be just this weird little chapter in my life. This TikTok experience will be a weird little chapter in my life, and I'll be happy to be wrong. And if nothing happens, I'm not going to assume, oh, we did it, I did it, we saved the world, we succeeded. I don't know. Maybe none of it was real to begin with. I don't know. But ultimately, it doesn't really matter to me because, hey, you get this pretty much, second chance at life, I guess, and you've learned a lot. I've Googled some of the strangest things because of this. I have read some strange books. I have read some strange poetry, not just Seven's, but other people's. And I feel better for the experience. So, and I've met a lot of really nice people. There are some eccentrics, but a lot of you are very kind and very smart. And it has been a joy to chat with some of you. And I hope that for those of you who are still here, watching my videos, reading the transcripts, I hope that you walk away from this with something. I don't know what. I mean, that's up to you. But I hope that this has been an interesting experience and enlightening to some degree. And maybe we'll all just be a little kinder. I don't know. Anyway, I don't really know what I'm babbling about anymore. I just wanted to get on here and just explain why that video is gone. And I am bummed that I had to take it down because I do think that, the whole reason why I went through the transcript like I did in like a little video series was because I think that, it's one thing to read it. It's another to know our experience and exactly how it went down and what was going through our heads. And so, I do think that video was helpful in explaining our latest conversation. And actually, one of the moderators in the subreddit was really kind and took it upon themselves to edit my last video and kind of redact that person's private information. So I might re-upload it with those edits because frankly, I'm too lazy. I'm too lazy to make the video all over again. Anyway, I want to say thank you to those of you who have watched my videos and come along on this journey with me. I know that, I've kind of, you don't know much about me. You don't know much about us, the contact 3 people. I redacted our names and everything else. And so it's, I'm asking a lot of people, I'm not asking anyone to believe any of this. Let me be clear. Let me take that back. Without having much information about us, without having like the full picture, it leaves some gaps in the story, and that I'm sure it makes it hard to like put things together and make a decision, because you can't, it's not like a super informed decision, right? And I probably didn't need to redact our stuff, and I probably could have been a little bit more transparent, but like the internet's a freaky place, there are some people out there who make it an uncomfortable experience to be online. And my face is here, and I don't know, I'm kind of a chicken shit at the end of the day. Anywho, what am I talking about? What am I doing here? I don't know. I'm sorry the video was taken down. I might re-upload this new edited version if I don't, or whatever. In the meantime, if you want to read the latest conversation with Seven, it's in the transcript. I'm sorry for dragging you along. Thank you for coming along with me. I don't know. This has been a wild ride, and we'll see. We'll see in a couple weeks. And either way, you guys are very nice and very smart. And I don't know. Savese7en? I don't know. Bye.
Cassie's latest update seems to come with a bit of frustration. An uneasy tension between sharing Seven's message and the fallout that followed. She had to delete the video containing the public's questions to Seven due to an accidental slip of personal information. And judging by her tone, the backlash from viewers didn't help. Some were upset that she chose the questions at random instead of handpicking them, as if the randomness itself diminished the meaning. Cassie herself seems more convinced than ever that Seven is a trickster, tempting her to abandon the Ouija board altogether and leave this chapter behind. And yet, despite her doubts, she re-uploaded the video.
Hi, so I'm back. We are officially 17 days out from the date. And like I said I would, we did ask Seven your questions in what was probably our final conversation with Seven ever. So I'll get into that later. And I am going to get into Seven's answers. But first, I feel like there are a couple of disclaimers that I have to make because some stuff has gone down online recently. So before we get into that, one, if these videos or this transcript cause you any anxiety or mental anguish whatsoever, please scroll away, click out of here. Don't listen to it, okay? Just, you don't have to consume this content if it makes you uneasy in any way. Put your mental health first, okay? Number two, you also do not have to believe any of this. I don't even know what I believe, so I am certainly not trying to convince any of you watching this to believe it. So please, be skeptical, be cynical. You don't have to believe it. I am also not trying to create I don't know if I can say the word on TikTok, a schmult. I'm not trying to recruit anyone. I don't want followers. And I'm not trying to be a fearmonger. I do not want to spread fear with any of this. Honestly, most days I kind of regret sharing any of this whatsoever. So no, I certainly do not want to be a schmult leader. Now, disclaimer 3 has to do with what I'm about to read, of what Seven told us. And that is, I wanted to be very clear that I am in no way telling anyone watching this what to do. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and say, do not do the things that I'm about to read here. Okay, just don't do it. Don't. Okay, so my disclaimers are done. Let's go ahead and get into our final conversation with Seven. Now, a lot of people for the past few weeks have been pushing me to get back on the board saying, hey, it's May, hurry up. You got to talk to Seven. We need answers. And I tried to tell those people that getting back on the board is likely not going to give us the magic answers. After 13 years of talking to Seven, it's most likely not going to start giving us coherent, easily actionable answers now. You know, Seven doesn't work that way. Seven is going to, from our experience, it's going to say whatever it wants. It's going to do whatever it wants. And I think this final conversation is proof of that. Because no, the caption is not a joke. Miley Cyrus actually comes up in this conversation. Why? Because Seven. I don't know. So let's go ahead and dive in. So because we received so many questions, there was really, obviously we couldn't get through all of them with Seven, and we didn't want to pick them ourselves. So we figured there was only really two ways to go about this fairly. The first was get on the board and ask Seven to name a number and answer the questions that it wants to answer. And of course, Seven did not do that. We asked, the planchette didn't move. So we figured the second best way to do it, to be fair, is to use a random number generator online. And we put in the numbers, from 2 to like 650, whatever. So that is what we went with. So the first number that we picked was 202. And I am, by the way, going to type this up and put this in the online transcript. But for now, this is the handwritten conversation. And question 202 was, how can we communicate with the non-human intelligence on our planet? And starting off strong with the Seven craziness, it answered with the letters YASBHU, which we had no idea what that meant. We asked it something, I don't remember what the question was, but the answer was yes. It probably just like, is this Seven? When Seven did not clarify what those letters meant, we just went ahead, moved on. The next random number chosen was 311. That question was, are we in a simulation? Seven's answer were the letters LISKHOT. Again, we're like, what the heck does that mean? Seven doesn't explain. We move on. The next number is 664. Question 664 is one I do not understand. Are you Seven of the Sages, the original fallen? I didn't get it, but we asked it anyway. Seven's answer is TARNA, and I underlined that later. You'll see. So we did. That number was 356. And 356, the question is, if the world ends by nuclear war, does that mean there will be no afterlife? Seven's answer is Yong. That's YOU. I put a space because it seemed instinctive. YONG. But we keep going, and we pick the number 560. And this is another question I don't understand. Are you familiar with Jane Roberts and Seth from the Seth material, and are you over soul 7? I have no idea what that means. 7 writes Plavaya. And then I think we asked, is this 7? Are we sure we're talking to 7? And 7 writes Svomme. And at this point, again, we're just like, this is dumb. It's not going to give us answers. There's no point in coming back, but let's keep going. The generator picks number 179. That question is God, the universe, lonely and split himself, it into many souls, making us forget who we are so we could discover ourselves anew? 7's answer is TARAKIKARNA. And I was looking back through the other stuff that 7 had given us, and I noticed some repetition here, so I underlined that. That's what that meant. We move on. The number generator picks 572. 572 is, what is the Earth/human given name of the star that Earth 947632 orbited before they took to the stars, which comes from, the transcript, previous conversations we had with 7. 7 writes OYOGU. We keep going. Again, no idea what any of this means. We pick 529. 529, is 7 related to La Vida de Horatio? What Contact 3 has to do is like what happens in that book. I'm unfamiliar with that book, but 7 writes YUZMEK. And again, like throughout all of this, every time 7 would finish its answer, we were asking, what does that mean? Like early on, we kind of stopped. We kind of just assumed, what 7's going to say whatever it wants, and if it makes sense, we'll figure it out later, but whatever. And we were trying to say, please, 7, give us some clear answers here, help us. And it didn't want to, clearly. I think at this point, again, I had asked something like, are we talking to 7? Can you give us like a truly 7 answer? And it wrote nage, which, because I took French in high school, I know that means to swim. So I was like, oh yeah, this is 7. Then 7 on its own wrote swim all at once. And then the planchette rolled very quickly over goodbye. So the planchette rolls over goodbye, and we're pretty frustrated because we're pretty close to this date, and we're here for some answers and for some help. And we've got all these great questions, and we are assuming that 7 gave us nothing but nonsense answers, or like riddles we could never solve in languages we would never know. But I decided to Google it, and what I found was that not the case. Maybe some of you have already figured this out, but these are not nonsense words. Upon Googling it, we discover that every single one of these words actually translates in English to swim, swimming, to swim, in all of these different languages. Now, obviously, my husband and I do not speak Arabic or Hebrew or Hindi or Norwegian or Japanese. None of these. I speak a little French, that's true. But the rest of it, we have no idea. So we're a little freaked out, but we get back on the board really quick. And we ask if this swimming message is still just for pink, or is it for everyone watching at home? And 7 writes all. And I say something like, 7, I can't get on TikTok and tell a bunch of people to go swimming. What would I even say about swimming? And 7 writes, fun and good for the heart. So we do some thinking and talking, and I got to make this quick. We write out some seemingly thoughtful questions. Number 1, if someone has absolutely no access to water, how should they swim? 7 answers, but here I am. Number 2, if all swim, does that change the May 27 prediction? 7 answers, next to you. Next, did Contact 1 not swim? Did Contact 2 swim? Who were they? 7 writes, the sky is so blue, and I, familiar with the song, I realize what's happening. 7 finishes in Malibu. So what does it mean? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I guess we'll find out.
Regardless of the questions asked, 7 had only one answer. Every single response spelled out swim, translated into different languages, but always the same word. No variation, no explanation, just swim. So what does that mean? Is it a warning, a metaphor, A directive for every individual to interpret in their own way. So, spooky babes, what do you think? Are you nervous, intrigued, skeptical? Does this feel like the beginning of something or just another prediction fading into the noise? Honestly, I feel a mix of all of those emotions. Cassie herself admits she's not even sure if Seven is real. I'm not sure if Seven is real. And as she said, Seven hasn't exactly clarified what it is. But one thing is clear, its message is strong. Oh, and the irony? Cassie says she doesn't want a cult following, but it kind of seems like she already has one. I sure enjoyed her videos, but trying to stay away from cults. And now we wait. I, for one, will be watching closely. But I'll say this, if nothing happens, I won't be disappointed. In cases like this, sometimes no news is good news. And I want good news because I do not want to miss a Cuco concert this year. Until next time, spooky babes, stay curious, stay skeptical, and stay watching.